Hi there. I made this video because, like you, I wanted to get better at instinctive archery. Now let me tell you, I bought books, DVDs, I scoured YouTube, the web, and I even went to seminars. And the biggest thing that everybody told me was to, ready for this? Focus on the target. Now if that's all you had to do, I should be like a world champion by now. But I focused on the target, and my consistency wasn't getting any better. And it was driving me crazy. I could nail that 30-yard shot one time, and then the next arrow missed the whole thing. So I was really being driven nuts. And then I stumbled on the secret. And the secret to instinctive archery is having a consistent and repeatable shot cycle. The shot cycle, simply put, is everything you do in order to shoot an arrow. And if you can repeat each part of that, your consistency will become much improved. And your accuracy will make leaps and bounds. And that's what this video is about. Every shot cycle starts off with a stance. There are many ways to stand, and yes, in time, you'll be able to shoot from many positions. But when you're first learning, it is very important to stand the exact same way every time. The feet should be shoulder width apart. The toes are at a 90-degree angle to the target. When using a closed stance, you can align either the ball of the foot or the heels to the target. I know some people who like to have their feet right next to each other. Hey, whatever works for you. The key is for it to be comfortable and natural. Feet are shoulder width apart. Toes are at a slight angle, with the front foot at a slightly deeper angle than the rear. The ball of the back foot is in line with the target. The ball of the front foot is in line with the heel of the back foot. Again, there are many variations of the open stance. I know people who point the toes of the front foot towards the target while the rear foot is at a 90. Once again, find out what is comfortable for you and stick with it. Your next step would be to nock the arrow. This step does not affect aim and can be done however you like. The next step is to grip the string. Of all the steps, this and the release have the most impact on accuracy. The key to gripping the string is to have a relaxed hand. There should be no tension in the back of the hand. How you grip the string is a matter of personal preference. Fingertips, first joint, second joint, etc. I tried them all. When I was using the fingertip method, I pinched a nerve and lost the feeling in my right ring finger for over 3 months. After that, I went to the deeper grip, and what I finally settled on is the grip used by Olympic recurve shooters. The string is just in front of the first joint on the index finger, just past the first joint on the middle finger, and just in front of the first joint on the ring finger. At this stage of the shot cycle, pressure is not important because there should be next to none. We're just hooking the string, as they call it in Olympic archery. The next step is to grip the bow. Again, something so simple is actually critical. We've been gripping things for so long that we no longer pay attention to it. And it's this lack of attention that can cause you to become inaccurate. To help demonstrate how much effect that your grip will have on your shots, I'm going to use this laser aim pointer. Now what you're seeing is from 10 yards, and I'm also doing it right-handed, so on the last demonstration, your results would be the opposite if you're left-handed. First up is squeezing the pinky more than the rest, and notice the drop. That is severe. Up next, I'm going to squeeze my index finger. Not as much movement, but still enough to affect it. And the final one is squeezing my fingers into my palm. How I grip my bow is a modified version of the Olympic recurve style. For me, it's easy and comfortable, and that's what I like. The 2 parts of my hand that touch the bow is the web and the fleshy part of the thumb. I place the web on the bow, and as I bring it up, I roll my hand onto the fleshy part. When you grip your bow, you have to make sure you grip it the same way every time. That's why I was talking about the finger pressure. You can see the bow moving. What I did is took my fingers out of it. I tucked my fingers in my bow so they can't grab it. My index finger is out because my bow jumps, so stop it from falling to the ground. If you tuck it in like this, you should be using slings. Setup is more mental than physical. In this section, you clear your mind, take a deep breath, relax, look at your target, and focus. I like to place the bow on the rear leg in this process. There are many ways to draw. For this video, I'll break them down into 3 general ways: straight, high, and low. The most common is the straight draw. Lift the bow up and then draw. This is the method I now use. I have found it to be more of a natural motion for me, which means I'm able to focus on the target more while doing it. From the setup, I raise the bow up over my head, and as I lower it, I draw. The low draw is just the opposite of the high draw. As you bring the bow up, you draw. If you draw using your hand, you are drawing with the arm and the shoulder muscles. You'll also notice that your hand, the back of it, will be tight. When you draw using your elbow, you're using your back muscles, and your hand will be more relaxed. Your arms will tire before your back will, and being tired leads to differences in your shot cycle. When you draw, it is important to keep the pressure on the bow hand. Do not relax that hand, for when you do, you're going to relax your shoulder and you're going to change your point of aim. What you're seeing here with the laser aim pointer is when I pressure it forward and I release. You can see there's a left to right movement. Do you do it the same every time? As you draw, you will feel pressure on your fingers. What is the correct amount of pressure on each finger? Well, that's one you're going to have to play with. The goal is to get the same pressure every time. Why is this important? To find out, let's use that laser again. As you can see, the laser is moving up and down. All that I am doing to cause that is I'm squeezing more with either my middle or my index finger. And when you see the laser move left to right, all I'm doing is curling my wrist just slightly, which a lot of people do. That's why a straight wrist is important. Anchoring is the step where the draw ends. Once again, there's many ways to anchor, and I've pretty much tried them all. What I finally ended up liking is the under the jaw anchor. There's one thing I heard, and I agree with, is the more anchor points you have, the more consistent you'll be. The brace is really a sub-move of the anchor. Bracing is done once you've anchored. All you do is squeeze your shoulder blades together and start a slow exhale. That's optional. A good brace will allow you to hold that position longer with less fatigue, which is much more important using sights than it is instinctive. The release should come naturally. It is the most influential step in accuracy. The best way to release is to simply empty your mind and just let your hand relax as you finish exhaling in your brace. That should be about a 2 to 3 count, no more. It should not be a conscious effort. You want as much focus as possible on the target. Thinking about the release will take away from that focus. I like to use a release using a rhythm. I brace, I start to exhale, and I count. 1,000, 2,000, boom, release. After a while, you'll learn this rhythm, and you will not have to count. There are 2 schools of thought on the release: stationary and movement. If you use the stationary release, you are much more likely to pluck, even if it is ever so slightly. One way to stop from doing this is to ensure good back tension. Press those shoulder blades together. When using the movement backwards method, or some people call it paint the face, you must do it the same way every time. Remember, variance in technique will affect your accuracy. I use the movement method, but I switched to the stationary just because I think it's easier for me and it's much more repeatable. The follow-through is, again, more mental than physical. You should hold this until the arrow hits the target. Once the arrow hits the target, review in your mind what you just did. And there you have it. You know, this is not an end-all, be-all, or an in-detailed explanation. What it is, just a quick video to give you something from which you can work with. Good luck, and thanks for watching.